The so-called loud music trial entered its second day today. This is the case of a Florida man. He's charged with shooting and killing an unarmed black 17-year-old. 47-year-old Michael Dunn claims he fired in self-defense after arguing with teens over the volume of music in their SUV. He shot into that car 8 times. A white man shooting a black teen. Is this case the same as the Trayvon Martin case? Today in the courtroom, the other 3 teens who were in the car with the 17-year-old who was killed gave virtually identical accounts of what happened.
Do you recall anything that Jordan Davis said to the defendant?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
F you.
What did you see the driver of the car, or the other car, do when Jordan Davis said, "Yeah, I'm talking to you"?
He reached into his glove compartment.
And what did the driver do with the gun after you looked at it?
To my recollection, he started to fire.
Out front tonight, Michael Skolnick, editor-in-chief of GlobalGrind.com, and Janet Johnson, a criminal defense attorney in Jacksonville. All right, thanks to both of you. Michael, a lot of people are comparing this to the George Zimmerman trial. A black teenage victim. It turns out that he was unarmed, although I know that's in dispute, obviously. And the 2 of the same prosecutors are on this case. Can you make predictions based on that, how this trial will go?
Well, I hope that we don't make the same prediction we had in the George Zimmerman trial. Certainly as a supporter of Trayvon Martin, a supporter of Jordan Davis, we don't want to see Michael Dunn walk free. But I do think there are similarities, but there are also a lot of differences. In this case, Michael Dunn was arrested right away. He's been in jail ever since. There's witnesses to this crime, where there really weren't a whole lot of witnesses in the dark, the George Zimmerman case. So I think there's a lot of differences here as well.
Janet, this does come down to this whole issue of the weapon, right? Michael Dunn's attorney wants to convince the jury that this teenager was indeed armed and they were able to throw the gun away, and that it just hasn't been, no one's been able to find it since. So that the teenager was armed, and that would justify a self-defense in this case. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting, Erin, because everyone agrees he actually did have a knife in his pocket. And, so to call him unarmed may not be accurate. He had a pocket knife that was about 4 inches long, and even that
Right, but
alone,
they were in 2 separate cars, right? I mean, it's not like they were side by side.
Right, but to say unarmed may not be accurate. But, he doesn't have to literally have a weapon. There has to be the perception that's reasonable that he did. And what came out today is that he was the aggressor, that Jordan Davis was the one who initiated the verbal dispute, even though obviously Mr. Dunn asked him to turn the music down, but that he was sort of threatening in his language, if not literally threatening to Mr. Dunn. I think this should have been a strong day for the state, and I'm not sure it was.
So what do you think about that? That there possibly could have feared for his life. They did all admit that the teenagers were being obnoxious and rude, all those things.
Well,
but that's not the same as fearing for your life.
I thoroughly disagree with Janet. I think that you have to look at the case here. There could be an argument if Michael Dunn shot into the car once, but he shot into the car as the kids were driving away.
8 times.
8 times. You have to be in fear of your life, of imminent danger or threat. And if it de-escalates, you have to de-escalate. And Michael Dunn did not de-escalate. He kept shooting at them as they were driving away. Unless Michael Dunn can prove that Jordan Davis had a gun or a lead pipe, as the defense attorney, says he did, this case is very hard for Michael Dunn to win.
Would you agree with that, Janet? I mean, the 8 times of shooting does appear to raise the bar.
Well, it does, but there's 2 issues. One is I think that officers have said and are going to say that there is an adrenaline, that there's a component of adrenaline, but they also said that they saw Michael Dunn later away from the scene and that the teenagers saw his car, and of course he didn't continue shooting. But, a victory doesn't have to be a not guilty. This is charged as first-degree murder, which is not what Zimmerman was charged with. And if they can't prove that it was premeditated, which I think they can't, I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the state has not shown that, I think it's a lesser, and I think that's a victory for Michael Dunn.
Well, I mean, Michael, what about if they overcharge?
Well,
they could really make a huge error.
Well, in a first-degree murder case, you do have lesser charge. You have second-degree murder, and you also have manslaughter. So the jury can take up a second-degree charge or a manslaughter charge. In this case, I do think it's first-degree because of the second volley of shots. He shoots again. That's intent. He shot 1.5 feet away from the car. He did not shoot to scare. He shot to kill.
And so you're saying the first shot may not have been premeditated, but if the others were,
you would
think that would hit the bar for
You could certainly argue the first time that could be premeditated or not, but as he continues to shoot, this idea of adrenaline, you don't have adrenaline if you shoot 4 more times in a car that's driving away.
Janet?
Well, I think that the premeditation has to have come before any shooting began. It can't be in the middle. But the other issue is, if he was doing this cold-blooded, this is malice aforethought. This is like an execution-style murder, a first degree. It almost never is a situation that, let's face it, this is more heat of passion. So, I understand the lessers, but we were saying that in the Zimmerman trial. People were saying maybe he'll be convicted of lesser, and this is the same prosecution team that maybe used that cynical strategy, and it didn't work there.
All right, well, thanks very much to both of you. And whatever you think about gun policy, it's hard to argue, isn't it, that this would have happened if people weren't driving around with guns lying around in their car. Still to come, for the first time, we have a look inside the Florida movie theater.